We continue thinking about the blind man in John chapter 9 who, once his sight was restored, could you imagine all the things that he wanted to see and all the people that he wanted to see? But instead in John 9, we learn that he sees many things that are very unfortunate and very sad to think about. This is the first day the man's had sight his entire life. Apparently he's an adult, maybe even 30 years old or more, because his parents will say he is of age. So that indicates he was not a teenager or an extremely young man. And the first day that he gets to see, think about the many negative things, the bad things that he had to see. From the Pharisees, he saw suspicion. They kept questioning him. Who was it that did this to you? How did he do it? Tell us about it again. And they called him in more than once to ask him about this. He also saw from these Pharisees hatred. They disliked Jesus. They distrusted him. They questioned his credibility of his story. And you could see in the things they were saying when they said about Jesus that, this man is a sinner, that there was an extreme dislike, if not a hatred there for Jesus. It continued on as you look at John chapter 9, and the blind man saw arrogance. He saw through their hatred and through the things that they were saying that they had closed minds. And because they had closed minds, they had closed hearts. And as the blind man began to talk to them and I think earnestly plead with them, not arrogantly at all, to say, it's a marvelous thing that this man has opened my eyes, but you don't know where he's from and you don't know anything about him. And the text tells us that they reviled him and that they said to him, you are altogether born in sin, and that they cast him out. Imagine that. The first day he received sight, and now he's disfellowshipped from the synagogue. Now he's kicked out of church, essentially, by arrogant, cold-hearted, disbelieving men. What a terrible thing to see. And yet we continue reading in the text. After all these things happen, the Bible tells us that Jesus found him. And when Jesus found him, he says, do you believe in the Son of God? And the blind man answered and said, who is he, Lord, that I might believe in him? And Jesus said to him, you have both seen him, and I am talking to you right now. It is he who is talking to you right now. And the blind man said, Lord, I believe. And the text tells us he worshiped him. After seeing so many bad things, finally the blind man saw Jesus, and he worshiped him. Will I see Jesus today? You see, if I'm not looking for him, I may not see him. And so let's look with the faith of the blind man. Let's look with the faith that will see and worship Jesus.